I like the challenge and doing something and getting to the end of it. Start small and you just progress. And I never would have thought I'd been able to do a long distance triathlon, never mind an extreme one. So you just kind of push yourself more and more. You don't have to buy all the fancy kit, just turn up and try.
And sit down.
Welcome to Grit and Passion. My name is Leszek Stelmachowski. I am an Ironman coach and an active triathlete, and my mission is to assist you in becoming the best version of yourself. And now, let's bring our today's guest.
My name is Jennifer Bedford, but most people call me Jenny, and I am 30 years old.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a midwife, predominantly work on labour ward, so delivering babies.
Nice. And the question about the races, how many races have you done so far?
So I don't actually have a figure in mind, but probably around about 20 since I've started.
20 races. And your weakest discipline?
It's definitely cycling.
Definitely. Are the strongest one?
It's a toss-up between swimming and running. I think most triathletes would probably say swimming's my better out with it, but I like running more and I can see more improvements in running.
And you are pretty good in swimming. You are on the fastest line on Mondays. So
in the triathlon world, in the UK, I'm on the faster end of the swimmers, yeah, but not the fastest.
So what you do? What's your weakest discipline? We ask, and what do you do to get better in cycling?
So I wasn't a cyclist at all before I started triathlon, and only seriously training for it the last 2 years. So I've vastly improved, but basically having a routine, sticking to it, and regularly cycling or turbo sessions.
Okay. Do you remember your first race?
Yes, I do. So I started triathlons in 2014, and it was at Gala Shields sprint triathlon. So I had not really, I trained a little bit, but I hadn't trained on the bike, and I turned up and I had a tri-suit. I had my commuter bike, which was a cyclocross, and had a pannier rack on it.
You had your gels with it?
No gels, nothing like that. But let's just say my bike took a long time, but my swimmer run were okay, but I also put the wrong predicted time for my swim.
Okay.
So I put down 17 minutes and I did it in 12:30. So I was lapping a few people during the swim.
Which is not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
And do you know why you start training?
So I started training because I've always been a runner and a swimmer. So I just thought, well, triathlon's a new-ish sport on the scene. I'll try it out. So that's what I did.
So have you ever done any sport professionally?
No, I swam a lot when I was younger, to kind of like an average swimmer. I stopped at about 13, 14, and then I did like cross-country running when I was younger, but nothing like, I did a bit of county, but other than that, I wasn't really good.
Fair enough. Okay. The hard question now. Ooh. What was your hardest race? And the second part of this question is, and what did you learn from it?
I think physically, my hardest race has to be Edinburgh Ironman, because it was 2 weeks after Celtman. And in between that, I went on holiday for 10 days in America. So I hadn't really trained. My legs hadn't gotten over Celtman, and traveling on lots of flights didn't help either. So I just found that particularly difficult. I enjoyed it because of the support that we got and things like that, but I just mentally and physically, I wasn't ready for it.
So you mentioned Celtman. Tell me something about this. It's one of the races I want to do as well. So,
hands down, Celtman's probably my favourite race of all time. I absolutely love it. Massive advocate for the race. The day itself, as probably Bruce mentioned in another podcast, it was brutal weather. So you couldn't go over the mountain. So it was a tough day, but that was my A race, and I'd trained for it for 8 months. I just love the buzz of Celtman, the people that do the race, the kind of community feel of it. And then it's just an amazing race. You're in the middle of nowhere. It's beautiful. And it's really exciting. I'd recommend anyone doing it.
Are you planning to do another one, or?
Yeah, I hope to. Hopefully on the ballot. I want to do it again. So I didn't quite make the cut off at T2A, so I got the white T-shirt. Still happy that I finished, but I think I need to go back and try and get the blue one.
So the The next question would be about your ideal race. Would you call like the Celtman your ideal race, the this year one, or?
Weather-wise, because I'm not so strong on the bike and there was a lot of headwind, and I have not got the best power on the bike, it wasn't ideal. I'd like it to be much calmer. But, you know, it's race day. You can't predict the weather on the day, so you just got to go with it. And personally, not too hot. So it's trying to get, I mean, like 10 to 12, 15 degrees would be my ideal race temperature, and not too windy, but we live in Scotland, so.
And that's what we talk about this today actually, about the running and cycling in Scotland, that you know, a lot of times you're saying, oh, I cannot be bothered because the weather is that bad when you go for training, but then you've got the race day and you have to do it, so it's and it's always good.
Yeah, it's always challenging, and there's always wind in Scotland somewhere, and it's great for training. I don't mind it too much as long as you don't feel like you're going to fall off your bike. But,
and it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
What's your motivation for training?
It's for myself, really. I enjoy it. I'm not very competitive. I like to do the race for me, and I like the challenge, but I'm not very good at well, not racing, but I'm just too much like, I just want to get to the end. I'm not that motivated too much on time because I don't want to be disappointed in myself.
But you did say that you just missed the cutoff time, so you've got it a little bit.
Yeah, I need to get a little bit more competitive. That's my problem, I think. But I like the challenge and doing something and getting to the end of it. And so previous races, I get sometimes hung up on times and things like that, and I didn't enjoy it. So that's why I think I prefer more longer distance racing, where you're kind of pacing yourself and kind of keeping an eye on it, rather than like fast to the end.
It's like a week ago, the one you won. Someone who never compete with anyone wins the races. How was the SwimRun?
I really enjoyed SwimRun. So that was my first SwimRun event, and it was pretty long. It was good. I mean, I enjoyed doing it with someone else. It was challenging, and it's different from triathlon, so you've got to carry everything with you. And yeah, it was lovely. I mean, the Lochs are beautiful. It's cold, but I'm used to that. But it was completely clear, and you're going up mountains. We were scrambling at one point. It was really good. And it's little, because it's more of an extreme, particularly that SwimRun event. There's not as many people that do it, so you get to know your other competitors, and it's just got a good kind of community vibe again.
Okay. Now, the question about the new people coming to the sport. Would you have any advice to them?
New people, so yeah, definitely. So it's absolutely fine if you've never done it before, and you don't have to buy all the fancy kit, because I didn't do that, and I still haven't got fancy kit. Just turn up and try. I would also recommend going to a club, because that really helped me. You don't necessarily need a coach for like sprints or anything like that, because clubs are usually quite good at helping you out. But just turn up. You can have a mountain bike. That's absolutely fine. And as long as you get out and train and enjoy yourself, that's the main thing. Really.
And just try. Yeah.
Exactly.
What's next for you then?
So I really love extreme triathlon. So I suppose it's I really love to do Celtman again, but maybe I think I'm going to put my name in the ballot for Norseman, the original one. So yeah, I think that's and also I think to do less triathlons this year, I did a lot of big triathlons, and then 2-3 weeks later, I did a smaller event, but I wasn't prepared. You need a break after a big event, so I think maybe less is more for next year.
I was really surprised that you did like Edinburgh after 2 weeks after the Celtman, because I would be in pieces. I think that after my last Ironman, I had like 4 weeks not doing anything, and then I just started training like 2 weeks ago, and it feels so hard to get back to it. So 2 weeks, crazy.
The only reason why I did it was because it was the first one in Scotland, and it's on my doorstep. Like I walked to the coaches, and I think as a spectator, I would have been really disappointed if I hadn't done it. So my goal was just to get to the end. I didn't have like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, or anything like that. So it wasn't, again, it was more for a challenge and to enjoy the race, but it was difficult.
Okay, the last question is basically, it's very open. And is there anything I didn't ask you and you would like to add?
Not really. So I started triathlon in 2014, and I started with a sprint, and then in 2017 I've managed to do Celtman. So I remember a couple of the coaches Edinburgh triathletes, which I'm with, saying, you kind of start small and you just progress. And I never would have thought I'd been able to do a long distance triathlon, never mind an extreme one. So you just kind of push yourself more and more and challenge yourself each time. So yeah, you just got to start small and then you start to think big.
All right. That's pretty awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Get in touch. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, and on my website www.gritandpassion.com. See you on the other side.